You're listening to CreepGeeks Podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/CheapGeek. So it begins again. Welcome back to the CreepGeeks Podcast, episode number 173.
WWE Corona, local cryptids, and Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah. And we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's your very first time listening to the podcast, we're glad to have you here. Welcome. And if you are a repeat offender, very much appreciate having you here as well. Good to see you. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today on the old podcast. This is the CreepGeeks Podcast. My name is Greg.
I'm Omi.
And we're the host of the CreepGeeks Podcast.
Yeah.
You like that? That's my radio voice, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we're crazy. We're going to talk about Corona and WWE. Anyway, we have lots of stuff to talk about today. And a couple things we found to be interesting on the internet is what we're going to talk about, because that's what we do. We find interesting things and factoids and things like that on the internet. We talk about them, usually paranormal related, sometimes technology related, but just generally things that we think are interesting. Yeah. And so this is a kind of an offbeat podcast, isn't it?
Yes. The CreepGeeks Podcast is an offbeat news podcast that takes a lighthearted approach to the paranormal, cryptid, strange, the silly, and trending tech topics circulating the web, broadcasting paranormal news and fun stories from our underground bunker in the mountains of western North Carolina.
Our quarantined bunker
Yes.
in the mountains of western North Carolina. That's right. We have no visitors here. It's like, do not show up. The gate is locked. The only people that shows up are occupational therapists and physical therapists.
Yeah.
Basically, that's kind of the way it's been. You know, did the old broken neck thing. Got to work through that, because this year has been a banner year for all things garbage.
Yeah.
Corona is affecting all sorts of things. It's been generally just a crappy year.
Oh, I saw another meme, a good one. And it was like, if 2020 wasn't bad enough, now this has happened. And it was a coyote with a roadrunner.
Yeah. Like
Wile E. Coyote finally caught the roadrunner.
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember thinking 2019 was garbage. I'll gladly have that back, man. I mean, yeah, it's like...
Yeah.
It is what it is. Lots of people are suffering out there, and lots of people have to deal with coronas and things like that. But anyway, we like to talk about stuff that we find to be interesting. Hopefully you'll find it to be interesting too. If you do, and you want to follow us, you should. You should follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. If you just search for CreepGeeks, you'll find it.
Yep.
We have a website, creepgeeks.com. So if you can spell CreepGeeks, you'll find it. We have Instagram. We have all sorts of ways, actually, to get a hold of us. And we also have a Patreon page. So you can find all the content that we don't share, like right out of the gate there. We have exclusive, number only, Patreon supported podcast and other type content there. We started that a while ago because we have a large backlog of stuff, and we didn't quite know where to put it. Because whilst I was in the hospital with a broken neck, it seemed to be that some of my stuff had been compromised.
Yeah.
Causing all sorts of issues.
So we figured, why not make this stuff exclusive and in a safe place?
Yeah. Now, we know I don't need any emails or any messages saying that Patreon is not a safe place. I totally get it. I understand. But it's safer than most, and we find a better option, we'll do that as well. But we figured we'd spread the wealth if it was and kind of put it out there. And we have lots of tiers. If you'd like to kind of check that out, you can certainly do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you would like to share an experience or a story, if you'd like us to talk about something, we have a toll-free phone number for you to call.
And that phone number is going to be 575-208-4025.
Yeah. So you can leave us a message. We also have a contact form on the website as well. You can leave us a message there. If you want to do it on Facebook, you can do that. Direct message through Instagram. Any way you want to contact us, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can even contact us on TikTok if you want, if that's your thing now. since everybody's all locked down, learning all these new social media platforms, working from home. Yeah, you can send us a TikTok.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, you're too old.
Don't say that.
Well, it's true. I mean, no. It's kind of funny. Think of TikToks being like Vines. If you don't know what Vines is, you're definitely too old.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we like to start off our podcast with an interesting random factoid. And for the past 2 or 3 episodes of our podcast, the most interesting random factoid we can think of are search terms related to the coronavirus.
Yes.
It's kind of like a barometer, like a check.
Like a social or universal barometer.
Yeah, about corona, because corona is affecting everybody. So every so often we check to see what some of the search terms are related to corona. And some of the ones that we've come up with and seen is just like they don't make any sense to us. Like, what? Why is that a thing? But anyway, we figured we'd go ahead and share. And here's the first one. Ready?
Yeah.
This search term is up 1,700%. And it's from the UK. And it's how long do you clap for NHS?
What's NHS?
I don't know.
Is that?
No idea. But I thought it was kind of interesting because we'll look it up later and see what it is. I'm like, all right, well, it's UK. But here was the breakout one, right? Reopening plan phases is a breakout search. Now, what that actually means is, and what they're actually talking about is, when are things going to start to reopen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we have opinions on that.
Oh, NHS is National Health Service.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So, it's the UK's medical system.
Is this the thing where at 7 o'clock you go out and you clap for all your first responders and all the people out there doing that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should clap for as long as you can. So that's my opinion, but.
Well, there you go. The reopening thing for Corona is a little bit of a bone of contention for me personally.
Yeah.
Because this is what happens, okay? People have been sequestered, you've been locked down, you've been coronatized and all that kind of stuff and put into safe places and masks and all this other jazz, right?
Yeah.
And then it looks like from lack of news or whatever, maybe, just the news is the same, or it looks like the amount of people that have succumbed to the coronavirus has declined.
Or plateaued.
Yes.
And
And people start thinking, well, this isn't nearly as bad as it could have been. When are they going to start reopening stuff?
Yeah.
When are they going to let us go out there and do stuff? And we're tired of being locked up and stuff like that. And that is a problem in itself, because what happens is we have a plateau, which just means that basically being quarantined is actually working.
Yeah.
So now let's wreck it by going outside and doing all the stuff that they've said that we shouldn't be doing.
Or Florida opening the beaches.
Yeah. Hey, let's open the beaches because we really got to have that money.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. And, Florida's dumbass had a problem before with the whole spring break thing, right? They had teenagers out there doing the spring break thing instead of paying attention and listening.
And then 36 people getting infected.
Yeah, 36 people got it, which means that who knows how many people they spread that to.
Yeah.
So people being stupid by saying, we need to be out there and unlock things and open things back up and we're dying here. No, it's like, you're not dying, man. Anne Frank. And was it 8 or 9 people stayed in a 1-bedroom, it's like, not a 1-bedroom. It was in the attic.
It was like attic
a small,
hallway.
one attic.
Yeah.
For 4 months or something crazy like that?
No, it was a long time. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. I mean, the point is that you will survive. I mean, they didn't have Netflix. They didn't have food delivered. They didn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
But people are going crazy. And then you have people protesting. We need to open businesses back up, and they're defying the laws and stuff. And you know what? The laws that are put in place, and I shouldn't really call them laws, the actions that are being taken to help, curtail the spread of this virus are not there to make it hard on you. They're not. They're there to make it to where, we don't have, a large bunch of dead people.
2 years, Anne Frank.
Locked up in an attic with a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. An attic annex, which is tinier. Yeah. And it's not just these people complaining or getting stir crazy or having cabin fever. It's now businesses are protesting. We have protests going on here in North Carolina. There's a whole movement called Reopen NC or something like that.
Yeah.
About the loss of business. Look, we all understand. We
do.
We really do.
And there's also paperwork and stuff you can file to try to recoup some of your losses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get it. Businesses out there are hurting. Hey, I haven't worked in. You
haven't worked since February.
I know. Since your birthday. I'm just a kept man.
Shut up.
So, I mean, but honestly though, everybody is suffering. Everybody this is affecting everybody. But to go out there and break the rules and get out there and protest and let's open things back up and we're doing great. We don't have to worry about it anymore and all that. The attitude is what's going to make it spike again.
Yeah.
Thereby making it longer for us being locked down. Because once there's going to be a large spike in deaths or infections, or the infectious rate increases because of people going out and not listening and not doing what they're supposed to do, they're going to clamp down even harder.
Yeah.
And I understand. And are you really quarantined? Are you really locked down? Are there places that you can't go, that you absolutely have to go?
Well,
you can still get a freaking hamburger.
Yeah.
Fast food places, restaurants, grocery stores, hardware stores, all those places are open. They're just limiting the amount of people that are going in there and the amount of access that you have. You can still get most things done. And the saddest thing about this whole thing is that people are in hospitals actually dying and their family members can't be present.
Yeah.
And you're going to have idiots out there protesting in the street that their bar needs to be open.
Yeah.
Or that their restaurant needs to be open. I mean, can you imagine being like married for 80 years and then passing away alone?
Yeah.
Because your significant other can't be there because of being locked down. There's things to worry about and there's things to not worry about. Let's just let this thing go away and do what it takes to let it go away, because it's just going to get worse if there's a resurgence.
And see, we are in a unique situation where we feel this way. And yes, we understand the other side of it. We do understand there's some states that are a little overreaching in some of their quarantine efforts.
Right.
And we also understand, like, there's this viral photo going around of cops telling a husband and wife to sit farther apart.
Yeah. And there's the other photos too, where you got like one guy on the beach by himself.
Yeah. Or
being arrested by two cops.
Yeah.
Who are obviously breaking the social distance rule.
Yeah, because that was what it was. And then Portland, the whole city of Portland wants to basically enforce even stricter stay-at-home and shut-down policies to the point where you can't even go get a hamburger.
Yeah.
Or get groceries on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And yes, we understand it's frustrating. I wish there were a more uniform solution. I wish this was over with, but it's not.
Yeah, and in recent memory, this has not happened before. This is a relatively new thing.
The last time something like this happened was in the 1918, 1920 with the Spanish flu. And you know what happened? We all celebrated early when it plateaued.
And a bunch of people died.
A bunch of people in New York City faced more death than they'd ever experienced before.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. So the reason why so far Corona is not as bad as what people think it is not because it's a made up thing. It's because these little rules that are put in place and people being separate from each other and wearing gloves and masks and all that crazy stuff is actually working.
And restricting travel.
Yeah. So how about let's keep it working by staying at home? And if you really need to open up your business that bad, come on, man.
I am walking to the cornfield to keep our online store open. Okay. From a smartphone.
Yeah.
There's a solution.
You got to have some of our stickers.
I mean, there is a solution for everyone. There really is.
And we're not making light of people that really have it bad. Because, I mean, in every situation, there's people that have it better than you and there's people that have it worse than you. And, we're not sitting here, independently wealthy doing our own thing going, oh, Buffy, the coronavirus, so I can't hit my whatever rich people drink. What do rich people drink? Tea or something, little pinkies out. It's not like that. So it is what it is. And some of the search terms that we come across, which sort of let me down this little bit of a rant, and I appreciate you paying attention and listening to it or not, whatever. I don't care because, Corona.
Yeah.
Is when will Texas reopen?
Oh, that's
and when's Florida going to? Florida beaches, when are they going to be open? Which states are not on lockdown? It's like, who do you call for that? You're going to call Texas and say, hey, are you guys open or what? They're going to no, we close at 5.
You can go to Texas's website.
No, I was just saying, okay. But it's funny though, because this is going to happen. There's going to be a resurgence of this sort of thing. And, I just think that we should exercise caution. I mean, but I will say that if this starts going into like July and August, September, October, or whatever, then that's a little much. But
yeah,
I mean, let's not make it worse. Let's, look at some of the search results like, when is quarantine over for Indiana? Yeah. How to make a face mask? How did coronavirus start? I mean, these are search terms that are out there, right?
Oh,
and now they're saying this is like phase 1 of the coronavirus, which is kind of like they expect more infections to happen. They expect more things to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's a really sad one. Search result, 5,000% increase in Germany for "Are weddings allowed?"
Yeah.
And in the reverse, also, "Are funerals allowed?"
And that's what, affects, and I think that people will really remember.
Yeah.
Is, you have loved ones dying in hospitals alone.
Yeah.
And then you can't even go to their service. And then you can't even go to see, pay your last respects. It's things like that really sort of put, the eyes on it. And we go, man, this is terrible.
I mean,
not like, oh man, I can't get my, I want to get it's like, come on.
And
man.
for me, that's what sucks, weddings, funerals, the
Births.
entire births, the 2020 graduates. All the graduates this year aren't going to be able to have a graduation ceremony.
Yeah. They should do like in Japan where they send like robots.
Oh, that's
They look like iPads on little wheels and they send the robots and the robot, like, it has a picture of the graduate at home with their little stupid hats on, right? And then they call out the name, like, I don't know a Japanese name, but anyway, they call them out and the little robot thing rolls up. And then all the other robots like look at it and kind of like, yay. And then it rolls back and then they call the next name. And it was like the saddest and funniest thing I've seen in a long time. I felt kind of bad for them.
Yeah.
But it just looked kind of funny, these little iPads on sticks, like two little wheels, like Segways just rolling up.
There's
like, yay.
one search result I really like, and that is books to read during quarantine. There's a 2,650% increase in that, and that tells me people are already getting bored of the internet. So they're actually looking for books.
Yeah, or they've already exhausted all of Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, I just need something to read.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, that was our interesting random factoid, which is basically coronavirus search trends.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, as we move into our next subject that we talk about here on the CreepGeeks Podcast, this was something I didn't expect to happen. Now, here's the deal. This is about the WWE, which is the World Wrestling, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not really a wrestling guy. I've watched wrestling off and on my entire life. It's kind of like NASCAR to me in a weird sort of way, but I mean, it's a big business thing. It's people, if you've never paid attention to wrestling and everything like that, it is a multi-million-dollar thing. I think it's World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. It used to be WWF, which is like World Wildlife Federation or something crazy like that. No, and then they actually sued the WWF because it used to be called World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
It was a thing. But anyway, I haven't watched wrestling or paid attention to wrestling in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Years. But I seen this article, and part of the reason why I seen the article is because there's being quarantined. We found shows, right? And this is a show that I found and started watching because I've watched all the Ancient Aliens and I've watched all the Paranormal Caught on Tapes, and I've watched all these shows and Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and all this I'm kind of done with it, right? I've watched a ton of DIY stuff. And then we came across this like After Dark, where it talks about wrestling or World Wrestling After, whatever it is. It's
Actually, we came across Vice Channel. That's what we came across.
Well,
and they have all sorts
I don't
of
watch
cool
the whole
stuff.
channel. I just happen to watch that particular show.
Yeah, I like
they talked about
abandoned show. So,
yeah. where they talk about, well, this is primarily wrestling, but okay. So anyway, the WWE is basically letting people go.
What?
Because of Corona, they are like firing people.
That's
giving people the pink slips. They're calling them furloughs, right? So the WWE is releasing stars or superstars or letting them go because they act like they don't have enough money.
But
Now, the WWE has and always will be about making a dollar. They honestly, and from when this is just from my, watching it off and on my life and seeing these sort of things, they really don't care about their wrestlers.
No.
And it's entertainment. And they are all about making money, whether it's Vince McMahon and back in the olden days and Jim Crockett Promotions and all this other crazy stuff and Mid-Atlantic Wrestling and all this jazz.
Yeah.
And sadly, there was a time in my life when I was a youngster living on the East Coast where you watched wrestling before Hee Haw came on, before you could get to the good stuff on Saturday night, because you didn't have but 3 channels of prime time programming,
Yeah.
But they've always been about money. And so with that being said, having forced my opinion out there, they're letting people go, right?
Yeah.
WWE superstars releasing surprising coronavirus-impacted budget cuts. The last I heard, WWE had like $500 million extra dollars.
Oh. Their stock price as of April 17th is $40 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What, to buy one stock, or are you talking about like it just says the worth?
I'm sorry. I think
it's a lot.
There's a comma misplaced there. I'm sorry.
Speaking of commas misplaced, I broke my neck, and it was pretty severe thing, and I had some surgeries.
Yeah.
Just one, but it's a thing, man. It was pretty serious business. It wasn't like, oh, you broke an arm or something like that, right? It's like, let's cut you open, put some titanium in there, some shackles and brackets. You know what I mean? Some cadaver bone, titanium cadaver bone, man, shackles and brackets, the whole deal.
Yeah.
Right? Physical therapy, occupational therapy, all this crazy stuff. So they sent us a bill, and it said this is not a bill, but it sure looked like a bill. It was all itemized and stuff like that. And they put the commas in the wrong spot. Remember we looking at that going, and I opened it up and looked at it, and I almost died again. Because it said that my surgery and everything like that, with everything, all inclusive, total out the door price was like $2,458,400 or something like that.
Yeah. But then
I almost died. It's like, my ear turned off. I couldn't see out of my eye. It was like, oh my God. And then once I kind of regained consciousness for about that half a spec, I just started laughing. It's like, what makes you think I'm worth $2,500,000? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I have like YouTube channel and a website called Cheap Geek, and you think for a second that I'm worth $2 million? I just started laughing, right?
Yeah.
What I realized was the comma was in the wrong place.
But still.
Yeah, it's still like $248,000, man.
It's $258,400.
When you get up that high, 10 grand don't mean nothing.
Oh, that's just throw around money.
Yeah, it's just pocket change.
That's like, just what you tip the anesthesiologist.
And here's the thing, man. I'm really looking forward to getting a stimulus check.
Yeah.
And we haven't got ours yet because of issues.
Yeah.
What those issues are, I have no idea, but it seems like you can run into problems if you didn't get your stimulus check because you may have gone through an IRS tax preparation service, like a company like H&R Block or Tax Cut or whatever. That can cause a problem. If you didn't file your taxes in the past 2 years, that can cause a problem. If you've had to pay back taxes, that can cause a problem. Like, you actually had to pay instead of getting money.
Yeah.
So it's been a thing. There's like 9 different reasons why you may or may not get your money right away. Because when they had this big stimulus dump that happened where 86 million people got checks, we didn't get one.
Yeah.
I got a $2 million bill to pay. So I need that $1,200, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. So, yeah, it didn't show up. But when I read this WWE thing where they're laying off wrestlers, I'm like, well, how are they laying off? These guys have money.
Yeah.
The total current worth of the company is like $0.5 billion.
Oh, so I was reading the stock thing the wrong way.
That's like $500 million. That's a bunch of millions.
Yeah.
Like, about 500 million of them. So why are they letting people go?
I don't know. Well, I mean, the whole industry relies on people coming to the shows or pay per view. So,
well, yeah, I understand that, but okay, so far, the impact has been great. The impact of Corona on everybody has been great. It's severely impacted us and everybody else that we know, and businesses and things like that. You have banks that are saying, okay, you can defer your mortgage payments for up to 3 months. With basically the only thing is going to keep rolling is the interest and no penalties.
Yeah.
You have car insurance companies giving back parts of your car insurance because you're not driving as much, right?
Yeah.
You have like cell phone companies and stuff saying, hey, if your bill is late, we're not going to turn off your service. We're not going to, and utilities doing the same thing. We're not going to suspend your service or anything like that. We're just going to basically wait for you to be able to pay us again. So all these companies out there are rallying around and trying to help out. And then you have the WWE worth $500 million letting their people go to try to save some money. Are they letting their people go to try to save some money because they need to, or because they're using or seizing this as an opportunity to sort of trim off some of their high value employees like Kurt Angle and things like that?
Yeah.
Because they can. Because on the other side of the good companies trying to help out, there are other companies that are trying to trim the fat, even though they don't need to.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if we look at January, February, March, and April, 4 months, if a company goes out of business, a big company can go out of business because of 4 months of like a drop off in sales and things like that. There's something wrong there.
Well, that is the whole first quarter, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But what happens if you had a bad first quarter just to begin with? Like what happens if it wasn't Corona that impacted your business, like a fire or something like that?
Yeah.
I just think that some companies are taking advantage of the situation to try to maybe make their business more slim, more streamlined, if you will.
Yeah.
And other companies are really trying to help. And then you have companies like airlines, and the airlines are getting bailout money. You know, these are the same people that make you pay an extra like $25 to carry your luggage on and stuff like that. It's like, okay, so they already juiced the customer, and now they're going to get money, and that they're saving all that money by not flying, because they say the biggest part of flying is like fuel and transportation costs and stuff like that, right? Which is really what airlines do. They fly from one place to the other. So they act surprised when fuel prices and things like that make it hard, or they're not flying anywhere. Yeah. So all that savings in not flying and basically being able to catch up on maintenance and things like that, you think that they'd be sitting pretty. But no, they act like they're starving to death and need all that bailout money. And at the end of it, what's going to happen?
What?
When they get back and people start flying again, they're going to raise the cost of airline tickets, because they're going to say, because of coronavirus, we really had to, we had to let people go. We had to do all this stuff, and now we have to build back up our infrastructure again. Guaranteed, your airline ticket prices will go up, even though they're going to get the bailout money from the government.
Yeah. You know what's even worse? The cruise lines.
Well,
because they're asking for money, even though 80% of the cruise lines that claim they're based in the United States they're actually filed out of the United States.
Yeah, most of those ships, they're definitely not registered in the U.S. They're foreign ports they fly foreign flags because they're registered.
They're incorporated in other countries, but they're asking
whatever
the
makes
US
it easier
for bailout money, and they're all getting sued because like we even know a few people who continued to have cruises because they were told if they canceled their cruises,
they would lose their money.
They'd lose their money. So some people went on their cruises. We even have a friend from our old job did that. Yeah. And now people have to self-quarantine. Some people actually got corona, so now the lawsuits are in.
Yeah, it's like, I got corona. It's like, well, hey, normal times of year you get like listeria and things like that.
Yeah, or you'd fall off the side of the boat, never to be seen again. Yeah. But
So I don't understand how WWE can fire a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, there's like this one really sad one, and it was at least one of those let go. No Way Jose had traveled to Florida earlier this week to perform. He posted an Instagram photo wearing a mask in a near empty airplane. Oh, that's
sad
so
wrestler
sad.
Guys. Yeah. No, it's funny. The company makes a ton of money, but the wrestlers don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know it's entertainment and all that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, you have the good guys and you have the bad guys. I think they're called baby faces and heels. Heels are the bad guys.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon is a huge heel. That company sucks the life out of everybody, especially the wrestlers. So that's just my opinion. So if you're listening to Vince McMahon, that's my opinion. Nobody else's but mine. If you got a problem with that, I'll see you out in the parking lot. So I don't think you want some of these shackles and brackets I'm about to throw down. But yeah, I don't know. I just seem like, wow, because honestly, I never thought that wrestling would, be all impacted like this, especially when they have enough money to hold them over for a long time. I don't know. Yeah, Kurt Hawkins, Leo Rush, Drake Maverick were among some of the ones that have been let go. Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Heath Slater, Eric Young, Sarah Logan, Rowan, Noe Jose, like you were saying, Mike Chioda, Mike Canales, Maria Canales.
Wow.
I don't know any of these people. The only person I know is Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And Kurt Angle and I have something in common.
Really?
Yeah, we both broke our necks being badasses.
Oh, okay.
He broke his when he was wrestling. I broke mine falling off a van. But that's okay. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy. I'm like, wow, man. So everybody's being affected by corona. And one of the search terms, to kind of go back to it, that we didn't really talk about, that we thought was a really weird search term that I had no idea about, was that song from Taylor Swift called We Are Never Getting Back Together. That song evidently has been searched out 3 times more than ever before.
Why?
I don't know. That song has been around since like 2012. So I don't know.
Okay.
I think people were just being locked up and getting a little crazy. Hence people trying to get out, and businesses going, you got to let us out, man. We're kind of crazy. It's like when you've been locked in your room because you did something stupid. Your parents are like, you got to stay in your room for 30 minutes. And it's like 4.5 minutes in. Can I come out now? Can I come out now? I'll be good. It's like, no, you have 26 more minutes to go. But that's so long. Can I come out now? So I don't know. But one of the things I'm interested about is when we do have an opportunity to come out and get out legally, hopefully without risk of coronavirus and things like that, is that we are in an area where some of these local cryptid sightings have occurred that we can possibly go look at and see if we can see some of these things. In other words, these are local cryptid experiences that have been reported in our neighborhood, and we're going to check them out.
We are.
Yep. So there is a place. Well, it's actually kind of a big river, but the Yadkin River, which runs through like basically several states or whatever, but anyway, okay, so the Yadkin River, which runs through several counties in North Carolina, in the Piedmont, which is kind of where we are, is well known for Bigfoot and cryptid sightings.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's funny. We've been here for a while. I haven't heard of these. So I decided to take a look, and I clicked on it. And this is from phantomsandmonsters.com, right? Yeah. And the first one says, and these are accounts that people turn into Lon Strickler. Yeah. And he posts them on his website. And so I'm like, okay, cool, man. Let me check this out real quick, because if there's Bigfoot sightings along Carolina's Yadkin River in the Piedmont area, which we are relatively close to, we have the opportunity to possibly go out and see where some of these sightings are. Yeah. The first one is from 2015. Okay. That's like 5 years ago. So I was like, well, that's kind of a while ago. And
wait, this one sounds familiar. It's like, because, I was canoeing on the Yadkin River with a friend recently. We were about half downstream from the canoe launch at Shoals Road, north of East Bend, NC, at about 8 a.m. I noticed something dark and hairy hunched down in the weeds and bushes on the north bank of the river. As we passed it, it stood up and ran into the woods. We got a good look at it, and sure, it was Bigfoot. About 7 feet tall and very thick hair all around the body. Surprised how agile it was, because the bank from the bushes into the woods was very steep. We turned the canoe around and got closer to the river's edge. It was very muddy, and I think the Bigfoot had been in the river. Not much more to say. I believe there is a group of them in the area, because I have heard of others on the river seeing Bigfoot, usually in Davie County. Our sighting was in Yadkin County, and the state park nearby has had sightings also. Thanks, JM.
Yeah.
This
Davie County is not far from us.
I think somebody's told us this story.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So that was 2015. There was another one in 2011.
Yeah.
And where they talk about West Central North Carolina, lived in locations very close to the Yadkin River in Davie County. And they talk about the river's floodplain and how it comes up on this property. And they had seen one. And the person that said, hey, this is not a hotbed area for Bigfoot sightings, where their land was, where they actually had the sighting, right?
Yeah.
And they get relatively specific where they talk about high voltage power lines across the area. And, they even talk about how they caught a fat pregnant deer, several raccoons, a gray fox.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, but that doesn't really matter so much, but it is sort of painting the scene that there's food, there's things for Sasquatch to eat, right?
Yeah.
This person doesn't really say who's from, if they're male or female, but I'm just going to assume it's a dude. He said, the area is not a hotbed of Bigfoot sightings, but I have been hearing something very large walking in the woods beside my house. And my dog has been kicked by something and knocked out for a few seconds.
Oh, no.
So they all heard it, right? They said it sounded like a thud, like he was kicked in the side. They didn't see anything at all. It was around 11:30 at night on a moonless night. And they said a few moments later, the dog was up chasing scent down the neighbor's field. Son grabbed a flashlight and went down the road looking for it.
Yeah.
And caught a pair of large red-orange eyes in reflection. Now, if you hunt Bigfoot, or if you know about Bigfoot, they don't have the regular old eyeballs like deer and raccoons and dogs, coyotes, and things like that. They have like sort of reddish-orange eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a detail. There's a couple details in that story. The food to be available there, the area where the floodplain is, and the power lines and all that stuff sort of, it leads to the location. The fact that, there's food to eat and the red orange eyes makes me, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And they even say, I'm not sure what a bear's eyes look like, but we have no bear population around here. That was in 2011. Things are a little bit different now, but, back in 2011, if I remember correctly, a lot of deer and bear and things like that. There was a lot more hunting that was allowed in areas to sort of keep bear population down along with the deer population as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they talk about it, sees a reflection. They went down later to investigate where they'd seen the reflection. And they said there's an opening right, where they said, anyway, so they determined whatever it was had to stand about 4 feet tall or so. If it was standing in the field, it was 9 feet if it was standing in the woods. So from the vantage point where they seen it, they said if it was in the field, it was 4 feet tall, but if it was up around the wood line, it was 9 feet tall. Just from where they'd seen the eyes. Because seeing, a pair of eyes at night in the dark, it's going to be kind of hard to determine where it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so they also talk about hearing wood knocks about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Sounded like, two large, like rocks being hit together and knocking on trees, that sort of thing. And it went on for about 8 to 12 days.
Oh, wow.
So they would hear it from different spots down in this guy's backyards in the woods. And so they're not sounding, and he says, I'm not sure if that sounds logical. I have only on one occasion heard what I would call a howl. And it was off in the distance. It was not a coyote, not even close. And it was different tone and lasted too long. And the funny thing about that statement is in 2011, there were not hardly any, if any, coyote here in North Carolina.
Yeah. Actually,
Coyote is a recent thing here, and say in the past,
honestly,
since 2014, maybe.
Yeah, 3, 4.
About 5, 6 years, but coyote were rare. So, but yeah, I don't know. And then there were some more narratives that showed up and a summary of a trip that this guy had. But the thing is, we thought to be interesting about this is that we are not far from this. In the Yadkin River, Davie County, all of that stuff is relatively close to Hickory in the grand scheme of things, which there have been sightings supposedly there, and in Marion, North Carolina, where there's been alleged sightings around here.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if you broke out a map and started pinpointing all these alleged sightings, they would show that there is some sort of trail that leads through this way, probably heading through Marion and all that up into Spruce Pine and Banner Elk and maybe even Boone, North Carolina.
Oh, I mean,
and there's a story that we actually talked about in the podcast a long time ago about a sort of special ops team that was called into Boone, North Carolina to take out a bunch of rogue Bigfoots that were killing people.
Which I was still doing research
awesome story
today, so I wasn't going to bring it up on the podcast, but people are now claiming that the Patterson-Gimlin has some sort of special forces connection now. And
interesting.
Yeah, and it's been going around. There's these 2 researchers trying to take a look at it now because they're really speculative on it.
Well, I mean, there is the theory that there is a special forces team that gets called out to take care of rogue Bigfoots. That happened in Mount St. Helens after it blew up, where they had basically, National Guard and other military types that were there to take and claim, sort of take possession of dead Bigfoot bodies.
Yeah. Well, this
then you had Boone, or basically in Boone, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be lots of these that happen all over the place.
Yeah, and then there was like a Linville Gorge one.
Yep.
But yeah.
Which is also in North Carolina, by the way, if you're listening somewhere else like Canada.
These Yadkin River accounts, I'm wondering if they all eventually go towards the Uwharrie National Forest, which is where one of the more significant Bigfoot groups that we follow on Facebook.
I don't know.
They do a lot of investigations out there. So
I want to say that the geographical distance between where this is and where Uwharrie is separated by too much habitation.
Okay.
And highways and stuff, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
So, but there are people that talk about sightings that happen around, along the Yadkin River, like frequently, a lot.
Yeah.
So it just kind of makes you wonder. But, when I seen this, I had heard about the Bigfoot sightings in Hickory. We heard about some of the sightings along the coast of North Carolina moving across, but never like this close where, it makes sense because we heard about the Hickory sightings and all that stuff. We also heard about Marion sighting. And honestly, the Marion sightings, I don't know how real that is, because not enough really evidence to say, somebody seen something great, but can't really say for sure what it is. But to see where the Yadkin River sightings sort of fit into this whole thing in Davie County and all that, it's like, wow, that's goes a little bit beyond coincidental, I would think.
Yeah.
Like I said, you put them on a map, I'm sure it's like, oh, okay, it's going to be almost like a transit area, I would think. But I don't know for sure because honestly, I haven't dug up a map to look because I can't go out there and look anyway because we're kind of locked down right now.
Yeah, and plus, the Pisgah National Forest is currently on lockdown.
Yep.
And there's varying announcements that it may be closed all the way through August.
Yep.
Depending on where it is.
So that's kind of what I want to know. If they lock down all these national parks and stuff and let everything, and people can't go,
yeah,
what's going to happen with the wildlife, man? Are they going to try to claim it back? You got Bigfoot's going to be like, hey, man, you don't need to hide anymore, dude. You can just do whatever you want.
I'm just going to walk along the Blue Ridge Parkway,
yeah.
you know?
Or do you think that maybe if there are Bigfoots out there, they're going to be all freaked out and go, man, it sure is quiet out here?
Well, see, that's the other tinfoil hat thing, because not all national forests and not all national parks are closed. Only some of them are closed.
Yeah.
So why is that? Especially when there's like these national announcements that certain places are still open.
I don't know. It probably is more along the lines of staffing.
Mm.
Maybe they just don't have enough people.
Which is stupid because North Carolina is pretty dense and has more rangers and service park people than like New Mexico, you
I
know?
don't know. I have no idea.
So
maybe it has something to do with like staffing and trash pickup. And I mean, who knows?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of crazy. It's like, oh, some local sightings here, more than just the ones that we've heard. And kind of like, oh, I want to kind of check that out. And so some of those sightings are out, and some of them are kind of old. But if you add the ones that we heard about in Hickory in North Carolina, up into Marion, you add that to the mix there, that becomes way more sightings than what's been there since 2011. So, or even in 2015. So, and other good news, an Irishman claims he's seen the Loch Ness Monster twice this year.
What?
Yep.
Cool.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, all right. So, hey, man, Monster's got to get out there and got to take. He's still working. Loch Ness is still doing his job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a watcher, a Loch Ness Monster watcher, claims to have captured this year's second confirmed, in quotes, sighting of Nessie after he films mysterious shape emerging from the water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And his name is Jon O. Fedehagen. I have no idea how to say this guy's name. He's 55, and he claimed he's seen the Loch Ness Monster, and he allegedly has some kind of video proof.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm excited, and I'm like, let me go ahead and watch this. And it's basically a long, super long off, like way, can't see any detail, kind of blurry sort of thing that doesn't, to me, look like Loch Ness. It's like you really can't tell what it is.
Well, I can't even get the video to load because, of course,
that's part
this
of
is
it,
the
too.
Daily Mail, but...
So, and he talks about seeing it, and he says the shape is just to be seen, you know, right where it is, towards the middle of the footage and all this stuff. And he's like, well, to be quite honest, I thought Nessie had gone into quarantine, right? Because as for the past nearly 3 months, I did not get a glimpse of her. And he thought that basically his luck was going to run out sometime, and he thought that this was the time, you know, that he wasn't going to see something. He was hoping that he would see something, and he did. And he says it put up a wash of white water as it moved. He could see it from that range. It had to be at least 10 feet long. As you can see from the video, there are no boats present, but there's not enough to say for sure it's Loch Ness Monster.
And you know, it's funny, the screen caps, because I still can't get the video to play. The way the screen caps are, there's like trees and there's bushes. I'm like, is this a UFO photo?
It does. It looks like a blurry UFO disc in the sky.
From the 70s, you know?
Yeah. I was like, man, come on. And the official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Register accepted his sighting and confirmed it on their website. So there you go. It was captured on the Loch Ness Monster cam. So what you see is a little splash of something off in the distance there, and it popped up, made some foam, went in and out, and disappeared.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? That's good enough for us. That's a Loch Ness Monster sighting. So there you go.
Cool.
Which is good to know. And so research carried out in 2018 revealed that the mythical creature is worth $41 million to the Scottish economy.
Oh, okay. I'm like...
So if you have to put a value to a cryptozoological cryptid.
Cryptid, yeah.
$41 million is how much the Loch Ness Monster is worth.
Or pounds. So that means it's probably worth like
$700 million.
It's worth 3 times your neck. I don't know.
Yeah, really. So it's like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's like, okay, because, you know, when you start looking at this kind of stuff to talk about and you come across the weird stuff, I always look for Loch Ness Monster, you know, and whenever I see anything Loch Ness Monster, I want to watch or see or explore the video and, you know, hopefully get to see something so I can go, man, I don't know what that is. And, Well, this videos did it for me. I don't know what it is. It looks like a little splash.
Blink.
But, Loch Ness Monster's doing his job.
Yeah.
Quarantined. So that's about all I got, really.
Okay.
I'm done. This podcast is almost over.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But we are going to talk about one thing that's going to happen on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Corona.
Corona got you?
Probably.
The Rona.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got the Rona. So, you want to talk about it?
So we are going to do a paranormal lockdown type investigation at Off the Wagon Dueling Piano Bar in historic Asheville. Now, if you guys have followed us for the past year, you know that we've done a couple of investigations from there, and we've released a little bit of our footage from some of our investigations.
Yes.
This investigation is going to be completely different and new in the sense that we'll have a much smaller team. Hopefully the owner will actually investigate with us, and we'll do
I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, he's all down for it.
He's in it, man. He's all about it. So,
and we'll be able to interact on live stream with our audience while we do this investigation.
Yes. Corona stream.
Yeah.
No, quarantine stream.
Quarantine stream.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is our paranormal quarantine stream.
Now, because it'll be a live stream, I'll be accepting a couple of questions through some of the things I do. I'll be doing, I think, an EVP session, because that's the one thing I kind of know how to do better than the other tools, because I'm still learning all the ghost hunting tools.
Yeah, so pretty much what it boils down to is with the way things are and not being able to have people in there is probably going to work in our favor to do this. But being able to do the live stream and, with the comments that occur and questions that get asked, should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be nice. And it's going to be you guys. It'll be a controlled small team of people investigating, and you guys are going to help direct us in how we conduct our investigation.
Yeah. So if you have questions, while we're investigating, if we see questions, we're going to try to answer those questions. Now, that's the plan. Yeah. Now, if things get a little busy, as in activity wise, sometimes the best laid plans just go out the window.
Yeah.
Because that's happened to us before. We get there and we're like, oh, this is what we're going to do. And, we're going to move on to different areas and we're going to keep a time and all this. And it's just like, nope, crazy stuff is happening in the bathroom. We're in the bathroom for 40 minutes trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
So, but the goal is to be able to go around, have us do, have it be a live stream on Facebook. If we have questions that we can see, because how it is with Facebook and things like that, sometimes things will update right away. We're going to try to answer those. If you have any suggestions for us or things you think we should be asking or looking for, throw them out there.
Yeah.
But we're looking at being Tuesday, and that would be Tuesday the 21st, I think. Yeah, 21st, right?
Correct.
Tuesday the 21st at around 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
On Facebook. And the reason why I say around is because we have to set things up. We don't even know if we can get down there, honestly, because of the quarantine and things being locked off the way they are.
Yeah.
We think we can get there, no problem, but things are subject to change, of course. But that's the plan, is to be there Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Find it on Facebook. So if you go to the CreepGeeks page, you'll see it. I think Off the Wagon Dueling Piano Bars page is also going to have something, so you can see it there too.
Yeah. And
hopefully you'll be able to watch as we do this. It's going to be simple, as in we're going to use mainly handheld devices, because I don't really think that we could, I just think that live stream with a whole bunch of stuff is going to be too complicated.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do what we can, make it simple. So pay attention, ask questions, that kind of thing. It's going to be fun.
I'm going to do one sticker giveaway during the show or the investigation. So, yeah, and I'm trying to figure out.
During the show.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that, like whether it's a secret word or we announce something.
Let's just not make it too complicated.
Yeah, so we'll do one sticker giveaway for all 3 of our CreepGeek stickers. So
very nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's about it.
You know what stinks? We have some really good footage of our previous investigations, and one of them includes a really dear friend of the podcast, our friend Dirk.
Well, that's because that's going to go up on Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon, so.
But he had some very interesting results with him and Wes, And I really can't wait to share that with some people. So, yeah.
Well, that's what we do.
Now, if
when we have it up on Patreon,
yeah,
and you want to see it, then there you go.
Yeah.
But we'll let you know when it happens.
Yeah, and it'll be on patreon.com/
CreepGeeks.
CreepGeeks. Let me just double check that.
Oh, God, come on.
Yep, patreon.com / CreepGeeks.
Yay.
Yeah, now if you guys want to message us, give us feedback about this podcast episode, it's going to be contact@creepgeeks.com, and you can find us on all major podcast platforms as well as social media.
Yes.
And that's it.
That's it for this episode. So, yeah, join us Tuesday. And if you'd like to be reminded of what's coming up with this live stream, because here's the thing, if this works out, this is going to be something that we're going to be doing more in the future.
Yeah.
We may have to. But anyway, if you'd like to check us out and be able to follow us and be part of, enjoy part, it's probably going to go to about 10 o'clock. I don't think we said how long it would go for. But anyway, Facebook. Go to Facebook, search for Creep Geeks, like the page so you can be notified when we do this sort of thing. It should be good.
Yeah.
That's about all we got.
All right.
Anyway, we're going to go now. So see you later. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.